Hello folks, version 1.2 is coming out next week and we have a lot of info on what to expect from the recent livestream. We are getting a bunch of events, some new weapons, 10 free fates from logging in, and 4 new characters. That will be the focus of this video. Once version 2.1 goes live, players can start rolling for Raiden Shogun and Sara Kujo. The surprise 5-star that everyone can get for free is Aloy. Console players can get her right away from the mail, while others will have to wait until 2.2. And finally, Kokomi is coming in the second banner 3 weeks after version 2.1 comes out. The launch of Inazuma already gave us 3 new characters in 2.0, and now there are 3 more that requires Primogems for 2.1. This is really thinning out the Primos for the free-to-plays and very light spenders, so I'm here to give some advice, or at least priority on Primogem usage. First off, I'll talk to the waifu and husbando collectors. Those are the players that don't care about strength or meta. For 2.1, you do you. Keep to your wishing style since nobody can convince you otherwise. There are 3 beautiful waifus arriving soon and probably some nice husbandos in the patch after. Now for those who want to strengthen their accounts. The first banner will contain the Electro Archon and Sara Kujo. Then Kokomi is arriving in the banner after that. Assuming you have any Primogems left from Ayaka, Yoimiya, and Sayu, then you should definitely try and roll for the next banner. It has 2 new characters. Sara is looking to be an Electro Support archer, kinda like Fisho, but not really. Fisho is a strong support because she enables your team to do more damage via reactions and her own personal damage output while off-field. Oz alone does a decent amount of damage, and if you can get her Constellation 6, Oz will keep zapping enemies as long as you keep attacking. On the other hand, Sara helps buff your team by increasing their attack. Her elemental skill buffs the next charge shot to leave behind a feather, and that feather will buff your active character and do damage to the enemy. The buff you get is an attack buff that scales with Sara's base attack. She also applies the same buff with her elemental burst. The buff from her skill and burst do not stack, but the duration does refresh. As a bonus, her Constellation 6 can increase the crit damage of Electro characters when they get buffed. Also, because attack buffs have a lot of diminishing returns, it is not ideal to run Bennett and her on the same team. And that's how she is different from Fisho. Both are good Electro supports that strengthen your team in different ways. Sara buffs your characters while doing some damage on-field, while Fisho does a lot of personal damage and reactions off-field, but does not buff you with her default kit. Now on to the current Electro Archon. If we look at the previous Archons, both Venti and Zhongli are literal gods and are very strong in pretty much any team. Venti has crazy crowd control and does a lot of damage through his bursts and swirls. Zhongli can double or even triple your team's health and lower enemy defense with his super shield. I know Zhongli was kinda weak when he first came out, but I guess MiHoYo gave him some mora after he relinquished his Gnosis. My point is this, if we look at the Archon track record so far, they are insanely strong. And if we look at Raiden Shogun's current kit, she is no slack either. Her elemental skill puts a buff on your party that will cause your team to do extra electro damage on every attack. Not only is the Shogun doing damage while off-field, but it's electro damage, so your active character can keep performing elemental reactions. I'm looking forward to testing her with Yoimiya. Anyways, this is a crazy strong bonus to your team, and it's only her elemental skill. Did I mention the skill lasts for 25 seconds, while the cooldown is only 10 seconds? That is 100% uptime. All your attacks will be doing extra damage while the Shogun is on your team. Now moving on to her elemental burst. It has a quick animation, which is great for speedrunners, and she pulls out a sword from another dimension. This changes her attack animation and makes her into a DPS machine for 7 seconds. While she is slashing enemies with this sword, the rest of your team will regenerate energy back for their burst. All her attacks in this state will do electro damage that scales with the number of resolve stacks. You get resolve when your other team members use their elemental burst, and now we have our synergy and loop. Use the Shogun's elemental skill, then swap to your teammates to do their rotations and elemental burst. After that, switch back to the Shogun and use her own elemental burst to pull out the sword. You'll be doing damage throughout the rotation and be restoring energy to your party. Once her 7-second burst is over, use her elemental skill again and switch back to the other members. This is a very simple rotation that has great synergy, as long as everyone has the energy recharge to keep up the burst. Overall, it seems the Raiden Shogun is going to be pretty strong on any team and fairly easy to use. Adding her on the same banner as Sarah, who is another decent support, makes this upcoming banner an easy pull for just about everyone. If you still have Primo Gems remaining, then you should try to get the Shogun if you can. Some might be waiting for a Xiao or Ganyu rerun, but since those banners are at least 6 weeks away, if not longer, you will have time to recoup some of the Primos you spent on the Shogun banner. And that also makes me feel sorry for Kokomi. She is in the banner after the Shogun and Sarah, without a new 4-star to lure players to pull. Unless Kokomi has some godlike 4-star rate ups, most players will be saving Primos and skipping her banner. But let's talk about Kokomi anyways. She is going to be a Hydro healer. We already have our Mondstadt idol, who is a 4-star healer, and now MiHoYo is adding the Idol of the Resistance as a 5-star character. Apparently, she has minus 100% critical rate, but 25% extra healing bonus, so MiHoYo is designing her to be a healer for sure. Her elemental skill summons a creature that deals damage and heals your team at the same time. This might sound familiar, and it is. This is essentially Sayu's burst at Constellation 1. Every tick of this ability will do damage and heal allies within the summon's AoE. For Kokomi, this healing scales off her max HP. Then we have her elemental burst. Kokomi's burst makes her attack do more damage and heal party members. Does this ability sound familiar? Yes it does. This is just a stronger version of Barbara's elemental skill. This does allow Kokomi to run on water, but that is pretty situational. In the end, she is a 5-star character who focuses on healing. We already have a decent amount of healers in the game, both at 4-star and 5-star rarities, so Kokomi's kit isn't that impressive. Unless you are a collector, I will pass on her banner and wait for 2.2. This is actually good news, since it means you can roll more on the Electro Archon and not have to worry about saving for the banner right after. To sum up this video, try to get the Electro Archon to strengthen your account. So far, all the Archons are crazy strong, and I don't see the Shogun being any different. Her banner also comes with Sara Kujo, so it's a win-win. Kokomi's banner right after can easily be skipped unless it has some 4 stars that you are still missing. This means you have a month to stock up on Primos for the banners in 2.2 after running out from pulling on the Electro Archon. If you are here just for the waifus and husbandos, then thank you for reaching this far and not closing the video immediately. Regardless of what I say, you will pull on what you want. For me, I will be streaming my Shogun pulls on at least 2 of my accounts and try to get her weapon on one of those. I do not have enough Primo Gems to guarantee everything, so I am praying to RNGesus for some luck. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you on my stream when 2.1 launches on the American servers, and as always, have fun out there, traveler.